footsteps until the day of judgment. Allahumma Ameen. I take this opportunity to thank my colleague, my brother, my Sheikh Abdul Had and Sheikh Nkonge, plus the school administration for an invitation to pay a visit to this mighty institution. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward each one of you the best. Allahumma Ameen. Now, in these few minutes we are having, I want us to discuss about ourselves. When we were created by Allah, a human being was elevated in every aspect of life. Now, a simple experiment is, if any one of you is having any object, use it as an experiment now. Our Creator, as Muslims, we believe that He created us all, living and non-living things, for a purpose. But now we were elevated as human beings because of our intellect, because of our reasoning capability, and because of the fact that we critically analyze and see stuff. Now, if you get any object, for example, this is a phone. This object has characteristics. It occupies space, it has weight, but it doesn't move from place to another place by its own. Now, that's every object, just like any object you might be having. The second issue is, we have plants. They occupy space just like any other object. They might be having weight just like any other object, but the difference between an object and a plant is a plant grows from step to step. After a plant, we have a human being. Allah created us human beings in a way where we occupy space. Secondly, we grow, because you were not born like that. And thirdly, you have the ability to move from place to place, just like an animal, a cow or maybe goat. But the only difference between you and any other creature and maybe any other object is your intellect, your reasoning, your understanding. Now, one of the primary cardinal objectives as to why you qualify to be a human being is the fact that Allah designed your mind with brains. You don't only see stuff and let them be like that. You have the ability of putting reasoning to it. Now, that is a quality that every human being needs to put to use. Now, as a Muslim, you were designed from your belief system to appreciate the fact that you have the brains and you must put them to function. It is the one reason as to why, from the Islamic wisdom, anything that is going to compromise your reasoning, that is going to compromise your ability to use your intellect, it is considered haram, because we need you to be sane from the day you start reasoning to the day you meet your Creator. How many people today are not putting their brains to use? And on a sad note, Muslims are trying out to follow the so-called trending situations in that line of not putting the brains to use. Now, when you visit the Islamic teachings, you will get to understand it is a sin in Islam to be a human being who believes in Allah and you don't reason. Chiswazamuko, like to be someone who doesn't put your brain to use. And if you're a Muslim, you know that in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it a point. Why not actually just translate one verse and withdraw lessons from that? Allah made it a point to design human beings to get to know that we have all these faculties granted to us by Allah to make sure we are different from any other creatures. Why are you a Muslim who doesn't put that to use? Don't you really think you're too much ashaming as a Muslim to be a non-reasoning human being who is also a Muslim? Now, do you know why Muslims don't take alcohol? It's because even when the whole world is doing something, it's not reason enough for us to do that. Why? We reason before we act. Even when the whole world finds sense in something, it's okay. Maybe they are finding sense into something, is being motivated from immorality. So be it. But as Muslims, we are not going to fall for that. Matter of fact, we put brains before action. Allah was like, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وَلَقَدْ ذَرَأْنَا لِجَهَنَّمْ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ. Allah was like, I'm prepared. I prepared hellfire for many of us human beings and the jinns. Now scholars were a bit perplexed. They were like, okay, why would Allah prepare hellfire? And He's making it a point to inform us that He is going to put us into it. Prophet was like, it's okay. Allah proceeds within the verse, trying to explain what category of people that are going to dwell in hellfire. لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. It's a category of people, me and you, that have the ability. Allah designed them with the abilities of reasoning. They own souls and hearts. لا يفقهون بها. They don't use the same hearts to out-reason whatever is happening in their lives. Now, do we have people who are scientists here? Senior 5, where are you? Sciences. Eh? Would I be right if I'm like, the heart has it as a job to reason? Would I be right? What's the role of the heart? To pump blood. Now, from the Islamic wisdom, from the Islamic wisdom, pumping blood is a primary role of the heart. But from the philosophical view, a heart has connections with the way, like connections to influence your reasoning. That's why out of Allah's literature went further to addressing, putting reasoning to the heart. Now Allah is like, I'm going to put people in hellfire, a category of people who in the long run, they don't reason out stuff. Now they have abilities, they are designed to have brains, but they are not making good use of it. وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. The same category of people, they own eyes, just like you and me. لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. But they don't use the same eyes to critically analyze stuff. A simple example. A goat has the eyes, 2 eyes like you do have. True or false? The dog also has the same 2 eyes like you have. Actually, some of you get to a point of even getting some of these names to describe yourselves. You have a dog face and a catty face. It's because you have the eyes just like they do. You have the mouth just like they do. You have the nose just like they do. The only difference is when a human being is seeing something, there is critical to that. You analyze after seeing, you don't just take everything for granted. Now it's like Allah is granting you the ability to see, to make sure, if at all you're to learn as a student, if at all you're to experience as a student, if at all you're to just learn new societies, you have to put critical analysis by use of the eyes. Because when a goat is just going to take grass, after eating grass, it's the end of the story. Not a Muslim. If you're eating a meal, you would understand that there is an effort behind this meal on this plate. Aren't you going to elevate your levels of humility after that? If you're in class and the teacher is teaching you, analyzing that by use of your eyes, it's an extension to denote that you're not as an animal. You don't just see something and let it pass. Whatever you see, anything you see, it contributes to your understanding, and please make sure you put good use to your eyes. This is what Allah is trying to, and Allah is like, if at all you're not using those eyes well, to critically analyze stuff, to critically aid your reasoning, then no doubt you're going to be punished at the 11th hour. وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. The other category is a category of people who own ears, but they don't use them to listen. I'm using the word listen, underline it. It's not hearing, because with hearing, you have the ability not to put attention to whatever you're hearing. But with listening, you're interested in whatever you're listening to. Now it's like Allah is like, we gave you ears to make sure you use the same very ears, not to make mistakes your predecessors made. If you're putting your good ears to function, just like Allah aided you with them, it means don't have those ears just like the animals do. An ear for a human being is designed to make sure effective communication is flowing. When your dad, when your mom, when your leader, when anyone in your society is communicating to you and you're putting effectiveness to your hearing, this is what Allah is training everyone, each one of us, to understand. لَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. Some of us are going to be punished because we never put our ears to full function. Is it true or false? And Allah was like, Ulaika kal an'am. When it comes to a human being that is having all these faculties, all these abilities, sight, hearing, understanding, intellect, and you're not putting them to use, no doubt the parable used is, you're just like any other animal. Bal hum adal. When it comes to a human being that is not using these senses to effectiveness, you're too worse, you're misguided, even far as compared to those animals. Because if you're in this generation just like I am in it, you very well know our fellow human beings that have decided to get misguided to a level that even when animals look at them, they're like, it's okay, get misguided, you're on another caliber. We can't get misguided to that level. True or false? Isn't it possible to find a man like me identifying as a woman? And I have counsels who are backing me up. Actually, if you call me a man, I take you to court, you're jailed. Is it possible or not? Don't we have young kids, if you've traveled well, that are identifying as cats? Identifying as animals. Are you sure those animals are in the same caliber like those human beings? Definitely no. Why? Because a Muslim fraternity, the Muslim community, as young as you are trained to make sure your intellect is not compromised, your hearing is not compromised, and your analysis is not compromised, because it's only with those senses, with that effectiveness, that you're going to go through all these drama that is happening in the world today. Now, how many of young girls are victims of that drama because you don't reason? How many of young girls are victims of that whole drama because of not critically listening? How many of young girls are victims of all these sad stories because of the reason they are not putting their minds to effective reasoning? Wallahi al-azim, it is the fact, and it's the one reason as to why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran made it a point to challenge every Muslim to make sure all these abilities are granted to you for you to change your society, to change yourself. Allah is not going to come and do magic for you. What Allah is basically trying to do is to put you in a society, to put you in an environment for you to learn from it. Now, if you're in this environment, as academic as it is, you're not only learning from classes. As a Muslim, there is learning outside class because you have eyes. There is also learning outside class as you're conversing with each other, just talking about yourselves. There are lessons there. Maybe the reason as to why you changed a friend to another friend, it was because your previous friend was not good at keeping secrets. Now, you're given intellect to understand that you can't tell them your secret because you've understood that. If you put effectiveness to all these senses, come on, you're going to be an effective Muslim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us that, because today, many of us, wallahi, are victims to that. Just check our society now. If I'm to ask you today, do you really think our society is built on morality or immorality today? Do you know why you're confident while saying immorality? Because it's a fact. Since when did we start to think that modesty is built on immorality? Do you know how many young girls are watching, are moving out half naked because they are not critically analyzing the situation? They are not reasoning, and they are behaving in that way because of just peer pressure. Now, a Muslim was not designed to just blindly follow. A Muslim is someone who was designed, irrespective of gender, male or female. Even when everyone is doing something, you get a comfort zone and you're like, why are they doing that? If you find no sense in that, stick on your nose. Now, we have a young girl here who is planning to start putting on in a half-naked way. Panage, half-naked way basically means you are half-naked. And as young girls, I need to inform you that every male outside, if you find any man campaigning for you to move out half-naked, it basically means all they want is to continue watching what you're covering as treasure. Now, I don't expect a Muslim young girl to fall for that because you reason and you don't take alcohol. It would be just easy and common sense to understand that every man is campaigning for ladies to be half naked because that's where they find pleasure, watching you. Now, just find someone. Don't we have anyone who normally puts on that stuff to come and back it up? Of course, there is no sense in that. No society has ever built itself onto young girls and ladies moving out naked. Now, Islam comes to give us this ability and this confidence that what we have is just enough. And when Islam, we are like, please cover up modestly. in a more respectful way, just like you are now. We are like, yes, this is a society that is grooming useful people tomorrow. You are the guys that are going to guide the rest of the world as you meet them, by teaching them on a basic level that Islam is built on those senses. So long as it's not adding up, you don't go in for that. Now, how many innocent girls are finding out immorality as their new normal? Katonda nyagenda kutuocha. You know why? It's today that you will find a young girl as you watching stuff that are affecting your behavior, that are affecting your reasoning, and in the long run affecting your environment. Because it only takes a statement, it only takes sentences, me as someone to hear you speak, and I will use the same statements to profile you. Wallahi, it's easy today. Now, when you sit down from today onwards on the TV and you're watching a fellow lady, maybe a gent, trying to say out anything built on immorality, as a Muslim, you're like, it's okay. That is not my space. You get to a point of learning that Allah gave you that ability of reasoning to make sure you don't just fall for those trends easily. Let me bring one basic example. When did it become a fashion for a girl, young girl? Let us just reason. I don't want to recite any verse. When we recite verses, you're like, they are too Islamic. When we bring prophetic, authentic narrations, you're like, of course he's a sheikh. He's supposed to say that. Now, okay. Someone who is an adult, with the capability of being a mother tomorrow, someone's wife tomorrow, you get a phone. I want you to say, you get a phone. You record yourself half naked with the background music that fits whatever you're recording. Now you stop that. Now after recording, just let us put reasoning to this. After recording, you post. Now, if I ask your grandfather and your grandmother, probably they don't know the impact of internet. Because of you're in this generation, I know there is that basic little sense in you to understand this. Posting on the internet basically means you're putting yourself, your body, to the world, to the nation, for everyone to watch. Now, after posting, there are millions of people that are going to like your nakedness. There are people that are going to comment, younger girl, you are too beautiful. The sad news and sad reality is, whoever is liking you, whoever is commenting at that immoral-based content is someone that you share a reasoning with. And those are very many. Someone who thinks like you think, someone who is still a minor, someone who is still immature, those are many. That's why they like you a lot. You will never find someone who is sensible liking such stuff, because we know what it takes after 10 years from there. Now, a Muslim community like you won't find sense into recording a video built on immorality. You would rather record while adding something onto a society. Now, how many young girls are contributing to the development of society without showing their body? And do you know the Islamic guidance? When Allah promises to punish us because we are not using these senses to effectiveness, it basically means we deserve to be punished because we have everything to make sure we change our own environments. Do you know why you have immoral friends? Because that's what you attract. Do you know why you have people who are not good, like we don't even feel their presence in a society? That's what you attract. That's why in Surah Al-Ra'd, the verse of the year, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin. Indeed, Allah, verily, Allah will never attempt to change any society hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Every society has a chance to change themselves. You only choose not to. Now, if we are here and we are trying to train you back to morality, you have the ability to get back to morality. If you choose not to get back, it's okay. There is that negative energy too. Who would actually enter hellfire if everyone is positive? Definitely there must be that group that is too stubborn and they are like, okay, we are not going to get back to morality even with that whole guidance. Please, let us find felicity in being immoral. Now that is not the Islamic approach. Please, young girls, the world is too unfair when it comes to respecting you as ladies. Are you even ladies? You upcoming ladies. It's too unfair. And the reason is why I chose that verse to make sure I want to put that confidence back in you. You're going to find a lot of campaigns out there trying to motivate you to become immoral creatures. Now, Allah basically granted you that ability, the reasoning ability, to just reason about stuff before you start doing them. That is going to help you. Now, someone who is not good at reasoning, someone who is not good at thinking, these are the same people who are taken for granted always because they don't even have boundaries. They don't even know their limits. But if you're a thinker, because Islam trains you to be one, if you're a thinker, you're going to know your relevance, you're going to know your limits and boundaries. Now, chances are high, you're going to live at peace with others. But if at all you're not, you're the same person that is going to pay in an amount of money, and whoever you're giving that money is going to disrespect you for the fact that you have paid. Is it possible in this generation or it's not? It's possible. Okay, an example. How many of you know what happens in festivals? Of course, I'm just being respectful. I'm not going to ask that how many of you attend. I'm just going to be like, how many of you know what happens in festivals? Does it add up to you? Someone to pay money, premium, golden, silver tickets to enter into a festival. After entering, they are manipulated and disrespected after them paying. Does it add up to you? Balhum adal. We are not a community that is going to just fall into festivals because we put reasoning before we do something. Before you start a relationship with any man out there, you put some reasoning also before you start. If you put reasoning before, come on, you're going to continue being guided You will not suffer the single parenting story, getting early pregnancies. Why? You reason before you get to do something. Of course, you will sit down and you'll be like, I'm still a student, even when I'm having emotions. I'm basically having emotions because you are normal human beings. You're expected to have them. But now there is a level where you need to control those emotions because that makes you a mature someone. Now, as a human being, because of all these abilities, you are trained to reason, and you like, even when I'm having emotions, I'm not going to let these emotions manipulate me to do something bad, because there is life after that. Will you get early pregnancy? Will you even start having a boyfriend? All scholars are now getting different opinions. Some scholars here are like, yes, I will get, and some scholars are like, no, we are not going to get. But Islam gave the guidance. Please, little ones, you are the young blood of the nation tomorrow. Now, when you check the respect Islam put to you as a girl, please, it's enough for you to be confident and know how Islam valued you. You have titles to fit in, obviously. It's only from the Islamic wisdom where it's a blessing to be a sister to someone. It's a blessing for a parent to have you as a daughter. Aren't you aware of authentic narrations where a prophet was like, if at all any parent is granted a daughter, one or two, and they invest into seeing them being good, credible human beings in a society, that alone is a ticket for your father and mother to be with the prophet Kahatain in paradise like this. How many of you are not going to be a reason for your parents to enter paradise? Aren't you aware of that tradition? Now, it was not mentioned onto a boy. There is a reason. Because you're mothers of the nation tomorrow. Every society is built onto your wombs. If at all you're good at reasoning, chances are high you're not going to make mistakes, even when you start attaining other titles that Allah put for you. Now, that is the very first title. Just being a daughter to someone, you were a ticket for them to enter paradise. If at all you just keep your modesty, keep your morality in check, to just be a good girl until you become an adult, it's a ticket for your parent, mother and father to enter paradise. Why? It's not easy to nurture a girl child. Do you think it is? Should I bring examples? It's a girl child that is disturbed as early as P7 by the male irresponsible figures in a society. You will not find that on a boy child. Because for a boy child in P7, they are still irrelevant, young boys. But with you, chances are high that probably you eat well at home, you're a healthy girl, you're still a young girl, but irresponsible men will see you for an adult and they will start throwing words built on immorality at you. Aren't you victims at times to that? When you march outside your gate, what do those irresponsible men tell you as you're walking? What is that? Eh? Am I missing out? What is that? Eh? Maybe someone will tell me afterwards. I want to be in the same bus with you. But my point is, it is not easy as you think to nurture a girl child to be a responsible citizen tomorrow. That's why the reward to a parent to a girl who is too sensitive to that level is to enter paradise. Now, your father, if at all he is doing something, or maybe your mother, if at all she is putting in efforts into making you a good girl, restraining you from being somewhere, from talking to some people who might affect your morality, it's because they just want to secure their Jannah. It's not fair for you as a young girl to think that they are on to you and they are not protecting your rights. Come on, you're too unfair as a daughter. Shame upon you. That's the first title as a daughter. It is the one reason as to why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam nurtured his daughter Fatima in a way that you're supposed to be nurtured. Because Fatima was trained to be more of a dutiful daughter rather than being a rightful one. The difference between the two is, a dutiful one, you know what to do as a daughter to your environment. With the rightful one, they don't focus to what they are supposed to do. They focus to what they are supposed to be, what is supposed to be done for them. How many innocent girls are obsessed with that? You very well know what everyone is supposed to do with you. Just because you're a beautiful girl, now you even think you have the audacity to stand disrespectfully to talk with everyone. Who told you that beauty is the alpha and omega of everything? Actually, from the Islamic wisdom, if that beauty is not backed up with reasoning, you're not as beautiful as you think. Wallahi al-azim. And the second title, Islam respected you as a sister, because every brother from the Islamic wisdom is guided to continue protecting you. Now, where are you going to find that? These are all your titles. You don't know. After there, someone tells you that Islam is disrespecting you. Since when? The other title is, there is being a mother. How many of young girls are not using their reasoning, their abilities of critically analyzing stuff, and they are killing their innocent chances of being effective mothers tomorrow? Are you sure your unborn daughter and your unborn son tomorrow will be proud with every move you're making and every mistake you're making today? Now, there is a reason as to why when you see a single mother toiling with life today, you use your eyes to be like, I don't want the same journey like them. You do the necessary. If you see on news and listen to what is happening in the world, that men are turning out being violent, mistreating ladies without committing to them. People are fornicating. In fornication, it's now the new normal, because the society doesn't care. You sleep with someone, you don't sleep with someone, the society is not bothered so long as you don't get pregnant. But with Islam, we are concerned. You're not allowed to check that immorality, not until you're legally committed to by someone responsible. Now, why are you not putting your reasoning to action? The reality that is happening today is enough to be a lesson. You don't need a sheikh. You don't need someone to tell you to be a good, nice girl, because you know what is happening today. Isn't that enough for you to just make sure your unborn sons and daughters are going to be proud of you tomorrow because you put reasoning before the act? Don't you really think you're going to be an effective mother? Haven't you heard of traditions where mothers are loved thrice better than dads? Do you know why they are loved thrice? Islam is not just training ladies to take everything for granted. There is an action put to that. When a mother is becoming a mother as a result of her morality standards, then that alone is a reason for the son or maybe daughter to love that lady thrice better than. Do you really think it's easy to be loved as a mother thrice when the whole behavior you're in is built on immorality? How many ladies today are just good at sleeping with men illegally. And on top of that, they have kids into different men illegally. Are they there or not? And to make matters worse, they are not learning from that reality. Now that is the biggest challenge, because if at all it happens once, there is a chance of changing. Maybe there was a mistake made, then you learn the hard way. But if at all you're not learning from the first mistake, from the second mistake, from the third mistake, it is okay. That is now you until you die. Now Islam is like, as a young girl, please understand and know that Islam is providing you with that confidence. Please make us proud. You girls, you don't know how Islam shines when your modesty levels are high. You're the only sign that shows that Islam is in a community. When we see the dressing code of ladies, of girls in a community, that's when everyone is going to be like, yes, Muslims are many in that community. Because for men, we don't have a specific attire that denotes that probably this is an Islamic one. But with you, it is. Please make us proud. I would like to conclude my words with a citation from Power versus Force book by Dr. David Hawkins. Now it's a psychological book, definitely. But now he categorizes us, and I find sense into this because it's like at some point it relates with what we have from in the Islamic wisdom. Now he categorizes human beings, all of us, into three categories. Category number one is the initial stage. That stage where you're still a young girl, an immature being, you're not in control of your emotions. When you're sad to the point. When you're happy, like you're basically someone who is not in control of your behavior. You're just a victim of your feelings, a victim of your behavior. You're still growing. Now everyone, that's where we come from. And I gave you an example. When you see a boy dancing to a song on TikTok, a boy, that's someone's father tomorrow. Actually someone's husband tomorrow. I don't think there is a sensible lady who would like being represented like that. Now that boy and girl, they are dancing half naked on media. After dancing half naked, everyone, millions are going to comment, millions are going to like. It is okay. For us, psychologically, we are like, whoever is commenting onto that, whoever is liking that, irrespective of age, even when they are 30 and 40, they are still in your reasoning bracket and they are not in control of their emotions. That's why, as their emotion dictate, that's their behavior, definitely. The second stage is a stage of people who reason and affect positively the society. That's a step and stage of reasoning. Teachers, cooks, leaders, influencers, positive influencers, people who add something onto a community. Now, let me challenge you. What is your usefulness? Where do you, like, if you die today, what are we going to miss? Because today's generation is training everyone to feel they are useful, yet in real sense, they are not useful. You become useful when you're adding something onto a society. And that's why Prophet was like, Khairun Nas, the best amongst you irrespective of status, irrespective of gender, irrespective of religion. Anfa'ukum linnas is someone who has a contribution, a service, usefulness they put back to their other human beings. Now, it's from that stage where we are going to understand and we are like, okay, that one is useful. Even when you die, the whole society will feel the impact of your absence. There is a chance that after you dying, it's only a day and a week for everyone to forget you because you've not done anything. True or false? Now, do you like that for a legacy? Islam is training you, be useful now. Even in your community as students, try to make sure you positively impact your fellow students to a level that even when you're not around, at least they will miss you for positivity. And they will not miss you for negativity. This whole self-entitlement you have, that, I have to be missed. We don't miss you as a human being. We miss the positivity in you, the contribution you add onto a society. Now, when tomorrow Sheikh Nkonge dies, or maybe Sheikh Abdul Had dies, all of you are going to feel grief. Because aren't they adding something on a society? That is the guidance of Islam. And the last level is the level of self-realization. That is a level where someone has learned from the reality. They have lived enough. Majority of people in that stage are people who have aged, lived enough, experienced many experiences, and they don't have time to pull ropes with you. For example, when you come and abuse me, disrespect me in public, me as a person, I outgrew that. It would be easy for me to understand that, oh, this is a little girl. Maybe the way she's seeing the world is from her narrow perspective. But there is life tomorrow. So what I do is, I give you your space, you react, but as soon as you calm down, you will find sense into coming back. That is the position of your parents. They don't have your time. So you either learn or maybe unlearn, but you will find them still around to welcome you as soon as you become a sensible someone. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put us within people who are sensible and put reasoning to their actions. Because it is too bad and too ashaming for a human being as old as you are to be someone who is unreasoning. And on a sad note, this is what is happening today. How many people, aged people today, are behaving like young kids? Are you seeing some? You're not little ones, you're adults. I'm giving you the position of adults, not to start behaving like adults, but to just put confidence in you. You are not young ones. Reason like a senior 5 student. Reason like a senior 4 student. A senior 3 student. It's the one reason, as I'm winding up, why do you study biology for 5 years, like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4? You're critically using eyes and you're listening critically, and you fail. Why would you study history? History just imbozi. Form 1, history. Form 2, history. Actually, with different teachers. Form 3, history still. Form 4, again, and then you fail. Then we are like, as Muslim students, that alone should be a center of confidence. Please, maybe in Form 1 you are not critically analyzing stuff. Or maybe in Senior 2 you're listening, but you, as you put information inside, you let it out from this side. But if you're a student that is critically analyzing stuff, effective learning is taking place, effective communication is taking place when you're interacting with the teachers, no way, you won't fail. May Allah grant you that confidence. And may Allah make you good souls to the community tomorrow. As innocent as you are, please make sure you don't lose that innocence. And may Allah grant you innocence that is genuine, just like your looksy. Because some people look innocent, but in real case, they are not innocent. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala realign that innocency to your personalities. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you highest levels of modesty. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you good mothers tomorrow, good sisters tomorrow, good daughters tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala build you up for respectable citizens tomorrow. When we say that Allahumma ja'alhunna minan najihat, basically means, oh Allah, make sure, please, our supplication is, may He make you people who prosper in whatever you do. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not test you with failing or maybe being failures in life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you the ability of using your senses, using your abilities to be good people with good relations with Allah, with your community, with your parents, and with the whole world at large. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clear difficulty from your lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all you do. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your families, bless your learning, bless your teachers, bless your environment. May Allah affect it positively in your favor. Allahumma ameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.